Welcome to these sci-fi guys. I am your host, Dave, and with me, as always, is my buddies John and Chad. Today, we are going to be talking Predator, the one from 1987. Arnold, Arnold Schwarzenegger is in this movie. Yeah, you can tell by the screen there. We got another Arnold movie. Uh, much I'm going to say much John and I were talking about this off air beforehand. This was nowhere near as good as Total Recall, I think. But that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, hey, let me go and do a synopsis of the movie and let you guys figure out what we're talking about here. Okay, so an alien spacecraft deploys a shuttle to Earth, where Vietnam veteran Major Alan Dutch Schaefer and his military rescue team, consisting of Mac, Poncho, Blaine, Billy, and Hawkins, are tasked with rescuing a foreign cabinet minister and his aide from insurgents in an unspecified South American country. CIA officer Al Dillon, a Vietnam war buddy of Dutch's, is assigned to accompany the team, even though Dutch objects. En route, the team discovers the wreckage of a helicopter, three skin corpses, and the team reaches the guerrilla camp and witnesses the execution of a hostage. They mount an attack, killing most of the rebels and several Soviet intelligence officers. Dutch confronts Dillon, who reveals their true mission was to stop a planned Soviet backed invasion that the CIA sent the Green Berets weeks earlier for the same mission. The only surviving guerrilla, which is Anna, is captured. Learning that more rebels are coming, the team chooses to trek to the extraction point because apparently the helicopters couldn't land where they were at. They are followed by an entity employing a cloaking device and a thermal imaging technology. But a spooked Billy glimpses it and creates a situation where Anna attempts to escape. Hawkins catches her, but the creature attacks and kills him while sparing Anna. Dutch organizes a search party, but Blaine is killed by the creature's plasma cannon. Enraged, Mac provokes everyone to blindly fire their weapons into the jungle. In a straight line, mind you, not up and down, but just in a straight line. All right, unknowingly wounding the creature. As the creature administers first aid to itself, the commandos regroup and realize they are being hunted. Dillon believes two or three guerrillas are responsible, but Billy is adamant that their pursuer is not human. Dutch later realizes that their enemy uses the trees to travel and frees Anna, who states that her people had seen such similarly mutilated bodies before. The next day, the group constructs a net trap and captures the creature, but it frees itself and Poncho is injured. Mac and Dillon pursue it, but are outmaneuvered and killed. As the survivors flee, Billy stays behind to fight the creature. Why? We don't know. We can't figure that one out. Anyway, so where am I at? Oh yeah, the creature kills Billy before following the survivors and killing Poncho. Realizing it does not attack unarmed individual, Dutch tells the unarmed Anna, "Get to the chopper." Dutch attempts to distract the creature by fleeing, but is followed to a muddy riverbank and covered in mud. The creature fails to see him and leaves to collect his trophies from the others. Dutch realizes the cool mud provided camouflage for his body heat. He crafts makeshift traps and weapons and lures the creature out in the night with a war cry and a torch. Dutch lightly injures the creature and disables its cloaking device as the creature fires wildly into the forest and tries to escape, but accidentally falls into the river, where the water dissolves his muddy camouflage. As the creature corners Dutch, it removes its mask and plasma cannon to fight him mano a mano, hand to hand, having deemed him a worthy opponent. Despite being overpowered, outsmarted, battered, Dutch attempts to goad the creature into a booby trap. It goes around the trap, but Dutch traverses the trap anyway, crushing the creature with the trap's counterweight. With the alien mortally wounded, he asks, "What the hell are you?" And the creature repeats the question back to Dutch and activates its self-destruct device. manically laughing as it counts down. Upon realizing what it has done, Dutch runs for cover and survives the nuclear explosion, or at least it looked like a nuclear explosion from when the helicopter was coming in. Then is rescued by the extraction helicopter with Anna already safely on board, though he is traumatized by the experience. Okay, John, this was your first time seeing this movie. What'd you think?
It was definitely interesting. I'll give it the classic in terms of entertainment. I'll give it that value, bare minimum. On the whole, though, there's a lot of things I could have used more of, and we'll talk about that later. But overall, I was entertained. I don't necessarily know if I liked it or if it was up my specific kind of alleys, even in sci-fi. It was enjoyable, though.
Good, good. Chad, you're the one with the questions this week.
Well,
So start us off.
well, let's see here. I'm not going to go to the first half of the movie because you really didn't see much of the alien or what it was doing. So I'm not going there. So, what do you think is going through their minds when they found the hanging bodies of the people that came there first?
I think they said, let's get out of here. That'd be my first suggestion. Let's get out of here. This is nuts. I mean, when you see bodies that are, um, the skin is peeled off of them, completely, which of course, all right, then let's talk about this. All right. So in the movie at the beginning, the Green Berets, they're the ones that were skinned alive, let's just say, or
Yeah,
they're skinned. All right. But then when he kills all of these commandos, all he does is take the skeleton or the spine and the the skull out as trophies. Why didn't he do that with those three? I didn't understand that. I don't remember. I mean, I remember seeing there was heads on them. So why didn't the predator take those three?
not worthy, I think.
I, maybe I don't know. John, what's your opinion on this?
I mean, in terms of the what do you think they thought when they found him? I mean, hey, yeah, I'm so down with it. Let's get out of here. This is dumb. But also probably like, what creature could possibly do this? Like, that is not that. Like, my first thought would not have been, oh, it was these humans that live in this area that did this. No, because even in that time with news that you had, you're not thinking like cannibalistic tribe because they would have just eaten them all. Leaving just skinless bodies hanging, not really a thing that would have happened. So I'd have been asking what the heck was going on from the start, and I'd have been trying to hitchhike out of there.
Yeah, it
Something
was
other
it
than
was
just let's find
it,
out.
it was almost like, okay, we're gonna send this signal to the next people, rather than, hey, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. It was more of a, to me, they would say, oh, it's just a signal. Say, hey, don't come along here try to rescue this. I want to do the same thing to you. But also, Billy kind of started figuring himself out, but then kept it himself. Because right then in that scene, right after, you saw his mood change. He started really looking around and trying to see what's going on.
Well, he was a tracker. I
Yeah,
mean, that's kind of what I got from him is he was a Native American Indian tracker. I mean, and that's what his job was on the team, and and he wasn't seeing tracks of anything of whether it be human or animal that was around that could do or be as big that would be able to do that.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's the thing. Like he notices that something's off. So here, most I've said question two is going to be a two parter. Do you know who played the Predator in this movie, and who was the original actor that was supposed to play it?
It was Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. Kevin Pillar Hall. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, and I
that's who
know I
played
was
him.
actually I watched something that said it was John Claude Van Damme was
yeah,
originally uh, did some of the filming, um, and he just didn't like the suit. He's like, I can't move in this. I don't like it. And this was like when he was just first starting out, so he wasn't even nearly as big when
No,
this first came out. Which I'm trying to. I don't understand that how the two, because if I remember right, I can't remember Kevin. What was his name?
Kevin Peter Hall.
Kevin Peter Hall was like 7'2". I mean, he was huge. He was a super tall dude. Jean Claude Van Damme is not that tall. I mean, he
No,
was much shorter than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think maybe they realized they wanted somebody super tall, um, because they wanted it to look imposing. Compared to Arnold. Arnold was a big guy. So they wanted something to look quite a bit different. It's the only thing I can think of why they chose him. But of
I've
course,
done.
then he did Harry and the Hendersons later on.
Yeah, I've done some research. So yeah, it was supposed to be John Claude Van Damme, and the thing was, it was he thought he was coming on the show, coming here and show all his fancy. You want to be his monster want to try to do kickboxing. I'm like, okay, but the if you ever go back and research the original monster, original predator was not. It was not looking like what it was supposed to be, and what it was on the film. There was more of a almost weird looking thing. I don't know how to describe it. That's what he said. Nope, I can't take it in the suit because the suit didn't have nothing was breathing in it. And that's pretty much was it. The only thing that I think they kept from the original shoots was the cloaking, how it was running off. That was about it.
Hmm.
So, but another thing, I think another FYI thing is, did you know the yo? I think they said it, but the Yoja Yautja is another name for the predator.
No, I never heard of that. And I've seen both of the movies. I don't even remember that at all.
Yeah.
Let's not
So,
talk about the second one.
all right. So, question 3: what do you think Billy said that was not human? Why do you think Billy said was not human that was doing this? Do you think he was thinking this is? Do you think he was thinking this when they found the bodies?
Yes.
I mean, definitely.
Yeah,
And
I
like,
think he was, because he didn't see any tracks for anything. I mean, he wasn't seeing any kind of footprints. He wasn't seeing any kind of, whether if it would have been an animal, why did an animal, tie things up? Obviously, they're not going to. So your first thought is human beings. Well, he wasn't seeing any kind of footprints. He wasn't seeing the way they, the knots were tied or whatever. I mean, I think he just thought from the very beginning, he's like, hey, this is something else. He didn't know what it was. He just thought it was something else. The only thing I can think of is maybe because Indians, American Indians, Native Americans, a lot of them have. I mean, if I remember right, a lot of them have a um, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost a spiritual side to them, where they're with the earth, with Mother Nature, and all that, so they can sense things and they can feel things that a lot of other people can't. So that's kind of how I thought about it when I saw the movie. John, anything
I
different?
mean, in terms of him like thinking it's not human, I definitely don't. I definitely think he probably knew before the others. A, with the experience tracking, but also the film sets him up as like the most quiet guy, and usually the most quiet guys are the ones who are thinking the most, at least processing information. So clearly, I think he'd be taking in information, thinking on it, processing hard, and even though it sets it up as kind of that like the film kind of sets up it as the big loaf who's just kind of there with the group. I think he's truly actually thinking through a lot of these things, and he was probably onto that trail much sooner than the others, even though he may not have said it out loud at first. Um, I think that's kind of where I land on that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Is he was more quiet, and yeah, he's a tracker, so he kind of was looking for stuff. But you said big lows, so you notice all the team was big and massive, and I think that's what I looked at was the directors and the people that was making this movie was that, hey, we want this like this. We didn't want a big guy with bunch of small guys. They all wanted the big muscle guys that was there. So
Well, the guy with the glasses was not with muscles at all.
yeah, no, he
Yeah.
was a yeah,
Although he's a writer. He ended up he's the one that was the principal writer for all the Lethal Weapon series.
yeah,
So
Mm.
I thought that
yeah.
was pretty funny.
That's funny. But, but I gotta one more question that was not on here. So you said one of the phrase lines. What are the lines that was very memorable in this movie besides "Get to the chopper"?
Get to the chopper. I mean, that's the
Just
most
get
one.
to the top.
And then of course, the one stick around. After he throws the knife at the guy, and then he sticks in the. Those are like the only two that I can
Let's see. I don't
remember.
want to get it wrong. There was one that like stuck with me, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, was
Knock
it
knock.
Arnold?
Oh,
It was
the
Arnold.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, I ain't got time to
It was
bleed.
Blaine. Bleed.
Jesse the Body
You have
Ventura,
time to
Governor
duck.
Ventura. I ain't got time to bleed. You're bleeding.
I know
I
there's
think that
another
was
one.
probably my favorite bit in the whole film. Was, do you have time to duck? I ain't got time to bleed, but do you have time to duck? Bam, gone.
So you got the right before he says "stick around." Was he knocked in that door? Said knock knock.
I didn't even. Honestly, I missed that. If you Now that you said it, I just didn't even see that.
Yeah, so it it had a pretty few lines. So I kept it simple with the last question. It was like, and I know John, you said you got stuff to go on with it. So what would you do different to this movie?
All
John,
right,
why
my,
don't you
my two
start?
major points of contention. Yeah, my two major points of contention. Number one, I need more story setup because for the most part, it sets it up maybe like 5 minutes in the beginning. Fine, sure, whatever. But like, I need a little more background about why any of these people know each other, why they're dropped in the middle of the jungle, what they're actually seeking, why it's important that these are the guys that were chosen. Sure, they were the best, but like, why are they the best? What context do they have? I need a little bit more on the alien. Why is he a sport? Why is he just killing for fun? Why is he on Earth to begin with? There's a lot of questions I have in terms of story that I would have loved. However, I understand it's an 80s action film. Let's just, spray a lot of bullets and just have fun. And I can see why audiences would be into that. My second contention is I don't know how that alien saw a darn thing other than heat signatures. Because all we see the whole time is heat signatures. But man, with all that vegetation around, if all you see is heat signatures, you're gonna be falling a lot. And I don't understand. I don't understand how we saw anything else. Because
Well, not
mask
not
on,
so much
it was
not so
blue.
much falling everywhere, but they would hear him. You know, I mean, every time you're walking through the woods and you're knocking trees or whatever. I mean, he would be just like a bull running through a china shop. It would
Yeah,
just
how
be
is he
all
so
kinds of
nimble
noise.
though? He can't
Yeah.
see a thing. It's either blue or red with heat signatures, and that's all. You're not seeing anything with that. So those are my two major points of contention that I would change. I would add some more story, and I would make his vision better.
Okay, my thing. Okay, we first of all, you need to explain a lot more about Anna. All right, what was he? Was she a CIA agent? Was she a Russian agent? Was she just somebody who happened to be there? We don't know. I mean, and I think they need to go a little bit more on her story. Why did Arnold tell her to go to the chopper? I mean, I know we were joking about the line, get to the chopper, but why? If she's unarmed, use her to help you get the alien. You know, um, and just like what John was saying, all the backstory stuff. I mean, all of a sudden you're just thrown into the. I mean, it was from 1987, so it was all about guns throwing, shooting everything. As many bullets as we can, waste in a 2-minute period. Uh, that's it. But one thing I would change for sure. All right. I know Predator 2 comes out several years later,
Mhm.
which and it's if I remember right, it's done in like a city rather than in the woods and stuff.
It was done
So
in Los Angeles, like in California somewhere in the city.
yeah, in the city. All right. Well, other than the huge explosion that the guy just the alien destroyed himself, and Arnold got away from that. I think Arnold, it would have been cool seeing him get into the helicopter with the shoulder cannon in one hand and the alien's mask in the other. And then they would have gone and then reverse engineered it or figured out how it worked or whatever, that kind of stuff for a future movie or something. I think that would have been a really cool way to end it. Yeah, he's seen all this, he's done that, but then he kind of looks in his hands and he's like, yeah, but I won this, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was, you come into the movie with you see the alien ship drop something, you don't know what it is. You just see it goes in and drops. Then all you think you see Dutch Justine come in. So now no backstory behind it. All you know, you see him hook up with a friend that knows him. But he gets later on. Yeah, he doesn't explain it. But the one line did say, "Hey, the CIA agent that he knew that said, hey, you wouldn't accept this job if I told you what it really was." So they,
Yeah, I mean, but all right. So, like, the spaceship was going over. You could have had a scene inside the spaceship too, of him, of his superior saying, "Okay, this planet, you get to go here and just see how long you survive, or you need to go figure this out, or something." You know what I'm saying? Have it could have been closed caption, so the reader, the watcher can watch it and say, "Oh yeah, that's what was happening.
yeah,
That's his motivation behind this." Because right now we were like, "Well, why did he skin these people?" Like we asked the question, "Why did we skin these people?" And why did he take their skull and their skeleton or their spine? It didn't really make much sense. So,
yeah,
yeah, I think I agree totally with what John was saying.
yeah,
Fix the backstory and just instead of having it all macho, guns firing and blowing stuff up, Arnold going, his famous one liners, two liners.
yeah. See, another thing is, I think they figured out, oh, he's not hunting the person that's not armed, not firing at him, so he spared the girls. I think, but also I think that's why he told her get to the chopper to explain what was going on, like trying, hey, somebody survived.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, let me throw this in here. If you guys haven't watched any of these, How It Should Have Ended, they have a How It Should Have Ended for Predator. Go watch it after this. All right, it's pretty funny because they're just like, hey, he's didn't attack her because she didn't have a gun. Why are we carrying these guns? So then they all drop their guns, and then the guy's like, the predator's like, no, take the gun, take the gun. He's like, no, we don't want it, we don't want it. This is seriously, watch it. It's pretty funny. It's a cartoon, so I mean, it's like 5 minutes long. I mean, it's real short.
So
So
I just remember you said something about Billy. Somebody said Billy standing there. I think to me is I wish they would train of thought he would have said, "I'm standing here just to get it over with." It's like I'm
or
trying to.
something, I mean, Billy was so quiet and then cutting himself on the. It's like, really, you're just gonna cause yourself pain just because? I mean, no. I
Yeah.
mean, these are Vietnam vets, so they all were probably a little crazy. So who knows? Any
Yeah.
other questions for us today, Chad?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. Let me go ahead and put our little ticker on here. You guys can reach us on X or on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at these sci-fi guys. You can email us, these sci-fi guys at gmail.com. All right. The movie we did today was Predator from 1987. Our next movie, we're going to go with Alien from like 1976, 75, somewhere in there. I don't exactly remember when it was. I have never seen it all the way through. I've seen little bits and pieces, game over, man.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
one I picked because I actually want to see it. I know it's kind of a borderline horror, but it was kind of horror for back in the 70s when it came out. Now you're just like, okay, it's a suspenseful science fiction movie, because they ended up doing what, three or four sequels, and then they did like two or three prequels. or
Yeah,
something with it.
they also blended Predator verse into Alien. So
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got that on my arcade. I think I've got Alien versus Predator on there
yeah,
as an actual game. You get to choose which one you want to be, whether the alien or the predator. So it's interesting
yeah,
to say the least. I mean, I'll be interested to see because I remember bits and pieces of it. What was her name? Riley is the lead actress. Sigourney Weaver.
yeah.
So uh,
She's
that'll be our
pretty.
next show.
Yep.
Well, that is all we got for tonight, everybody. So again, let me click on the right button here. So for Chad, John, and myself, later.